We're about to embark on an epic journey through a philosophy that's been changing lives for over 2,000 years. That's right, we're talking about Stoicism. But this isn't just some dusty old philosophy locked away in ancient texts. No. Stoicism is alive, it's thriving, and it's more relevant than ever in our crazy, chaotic modern world. So buckle up, because in this deep dive we're going to explore ancient Stoicism, modern Stoicism, and how they stack up against each other. By the time we're done, you'll have practical tools to apply Stoic wisdom to your own life. Whether you're dealing with a stressful day at work, navigating personal challenges, or just trying to find a little more peace in the storm of everyday life. So what is Stoicism anyway? At its core, Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches us how to live a good life by focusing on what we can control, letting go of what we can't, and cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. It's not about suppressing your emotions or becoming some emotionless robot. It's about mastering your mind so you can face life's ups and downs with clarity and resilience. Sounds pretty useful, right? Especially in a world where we're constantly bombarded with notifications, deadlines, and endless to-do lists. Stoicism is like a mental shield helping you stay calm and focused no matter what's going on around you. It's about finding peace within yourself even when the world feels like it's spinning out of control. In this video, we're going to answer some big questions. How did Stoicism start in ancient Greece and Rome? How has it evolved to fit our modern lives? What stayed the same and what's changed? And most importantly, how can you use Stoic principles to navigate the challenges of today? Whether it's a tough conversation, a career setback, or just the overwhelm of living in the digital age. We'll cover the key figures of ancient Stoicism like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, and modern Stoics like Ryan Holiday and Massimo Pigliucci. We'll compare their approaches, and I'll share practical tips you can start using right away. Plus, I've got some personal stories about how Stoicism has helped me, and I'm betting it can help you too. Before we dive in, a quick shout out to all of you watching. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more deep dives like this one. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for being part of this community. Drop a comment below and let me know what brought you here today. Are you curious about Stoicism? Maybe you're already a Stoic fan. Maybe you're just here because you saw philosophy in the title and thought, why not? Whatever brought you here, I'm glad you're with me. Let's get this conversation started. All right, let's set the stage. We're going to start by traveling back in time to ancient Greece, where Stoicism was born. Then we'll fast forward to today to see how this ancient wisdom is making a comeback. And finally, we'll break down how you can apply Stoicism to your life, whether you're inspired by the ancient philosophers or the modern takes. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into the world of Stoicism. Here we go. Let's take a trip back to around 300 BCE to the bustling city of Athens, Greece. Picture this. Markets filled with merchants shouting about their wares, philosophers debating big ideas in the streets, and a guy named Zeno of Citium standing on a painted porch called the Stoa Poikile. That's where Stoicism was born, and it's why we call it Stoicism. Because of that porch, the Stoa Zeno wasn't just some random guy with a toga and a dream. He was a merchant who lost everything in a shipwreck and decided to rebuild his life through philosophy. Talk about turning a setback into a comeback. Zeno started teaching that the key to a good life isn't wealth, status, or fancy possessions, but living in harmony with nature and reason. That was the spark that ignited Stoicism, and it's been burning bright ever since. Now, Zeno laid the foundation, but Stoicism really took shape through some incredible thinkers who came after him. Let's meet the big names, the rock stars of ancient Stoicism. First, there's Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most influential Stoic teachers of all time. Epictetus didn't have an easy life. Born into slavery, he faced hardship, limitation, and pain, yet he taught that true freedom comes from within, from controlling your mindset. His discourses are like a masterclass in staying calm and focused no matter what life throws at you. He's the guy who said you have power over your mind, not outside events. That's a mic drop moment right there. Then we have Seneca, a Roman statesman and advisor to Emperor Nero. Seneca was no stranger to drama, political intrigue, exile, you name it. He lived in a world where one wrong move could get you banished or worse. Yet he wrote letters packed with practical advice on everything from handling anger to facing death. His letters to Lucilius are like a Stoic advice column, full of wisdom for navigating life's challenges. Seneca wasn't perfect. He had his critics, and some called him a hypocrite for being wealthy while preaching simplicity. But his writings show a guy wrestling with how to live well in a messy world. And finally, there's Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor himself. This guy ruled an empire while dealing with wars, plagues, and betrayal, yet he found time to write Meditations, a personal journal of Stoic reflections. Imagine being the most powerful person in the world, commanding armies and running an empire, and still taking time to sit down with a quill and reflect on staying humble, kind, and grounded. That's Marcus for you. His meditations weren't meant for publication. They were his private thoughts, his way of keeping himself in check. Reading them today feels like peeking into the mind of a guy who was trying to be his best self, even under insane pressure. So what did these guys actually teach? Let's break down the core principles of ancient Stoicism, because this is the heart of the philosophy. First up, the idea that virtue is the only good. The Stoics believed that the only things truly worth pursuing are wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Self-discipline, basically. Everything else, money, fame, even health, is secondary. They called these external things indifference, meaning they're nice to have but not essential to a good life. For example, Seneca didn't say wealth is bad, but he warned against letting it control you. If you lose it, no big deal. You still have your character, your integrity, your ability to choose how you respond. That's what matters. Next, there's the dichotomy of control, and this is probably the most famous Stoic idea. Epictetus put it best. Some things are up to us and some things are not. Focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, and let go of what you can't, like other people's opinions, the weather, or random events beyond your reach. Stuck in traffic. You can't control the cars, but you can control whether you get mad or stay calm. Maybe you pop on a podcast or take a deep breath instead of honking like a maniac. This idea is like a mental filter for staying sane in a crazy world. It's about zooming in on what's yours to handle and letting the rest slide. Another big Stoic concept is living in accordance with nature. Now, this doesn't mean moving to the woods and hugging trees, though. Hey, that's cool too. For the Stoics, nature meant the rational order of the universe. They believed everything is interconnected, part of a bigger cosmic plan, and our job as humans is to align our lives with reason and accept the way things are. Marcus Aurelius wrote about seeing yourself as part of a larger whole, like a leaf on a tree or a wave in the ocean. When you accept that some things are out of your control, you stop fighting reality and start finding peace. It's about saying, "This is how it is, and I'm going to work with it, not against it." And then there's negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum, which sounds intense but is actually super practical. The Stoics would imagine worst-case scenarios, not to stress themselves out, but to prepare mentally for life's challenges. Seneca might picture losing his wealth or facing exile, so if it happened, he was ready. It's like mental rehearsal for life's curveballs. By thinking through the bad stuff, you reduce its power over you. You're not caught off guard, and you're less likely to panic. It's like packing an umbrella because you know it might rain. You're not hoping for rain, but you're ready if it comes. Let's put this in context. Ancient Stoicism was born in tough times. Greece and Rome were full of wars, political backstabbing, and uncertainty. People needed a philosophy that could help them stay steady when the world was falling apart. Stoicism wasn't just for philosophers in togas. It was for soldiers on the battlefield, politicians navigating court drama, even regular folks trying to make sense of a harsh world. For example, Epictetus taught that even a slave could be free in their mind. Imagine being enslaved, with no control over your body or your future, and still finding peace because you control your thoughts. That's the kind of power Stoicism offered. Let me share a quick story to bring this to life. Imagine a Roman merchant in Seneca's time. Let's call him Gaius. Gaius runs a trading business importing olives and wine across the Mediterranean. One day, a storm sinks his ships, wiping out his entire fortune. A non-Stoic might spiral into despair, cursing the gods, shaking their fist at the sky. But Gaius, who's read Seneca's letters, takes a different approach. He sits down, takes a deep breath, and reminds himself, "I can't control the storm, but I can control my response, my virtue, my honesty, my courage. My ability to keep going is still intact." So Gaius starts over, maybe with a smaller business, maybe selling olives at the local market instead of shipping them across the sea. But he's at peace because he's focused on what matters, his character, not his bank account. That's ancient Stoicism in action, helping people find strength in the face of loss. Here's another example. Picture a Roman soldier, let's call her Valeria, stationed on the frontier during Marcus Aurelius's time. She's facing constant threats, barbarian raids, freezing winters, long marches. Every night she reads a few lines from meditations by candlelight. Marcus writes, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Valeria takes this to heart. She can't control the enemy or the weather, but she can control her fear, her discipline, her focus. So she sharpens her sword, stands her ground, and faces each day with courage. That's Stoicism giving her the mental toughness to keep going. Fun fact to lighten the mood. Did you know Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations while leading military campaigns? Picture him in a tent, surrounded by soldiers, the sound of swords clanging in the distance, scribbling thoughts like, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's next-level focus. This guy was running an empire, dealing with invasions and plagues, and still practicing Stoicism daily. If he can do that, we can probably find a few minutes to reflect on our own lives, right? Let me paint one more picture to wrap up this section. Imagine you're in Epictetus's classroom in ancient Nicopolis. You're sitting on a stone bench listening to this former slave-turned-philosopher. He leans forward, looks you in the eye, and says, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." You nod, feeling the weight of those words. Outside, the world is chaotic. Emperors rise and fall, wars rage, life is unpredictable. But Epictetus's words stick with you. You realize that no matter what happens, you have the power to choose your response. That's the essence of ancient Stoicism, a philosophy built for resilience, for finding calm in the storm, for living well no matter what. So that's the foundation of ancient Stoicism, a philosophy born in a world of hardship, designed to help people master their minds and live with purpose. It's about focusing on your character, controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. But here's the big question. How does this ancient wisdom hold up in our modern, tech-driven, always-on world? How do you apply Stoicism when your battles aren't storms or wars, but notifications, deadlines, and social media drama? Let's fast forward a couple thousand years and find out. Welcome to the 21st century, where Stoicism is making a major comeback. From Silicon Valley tech moguls to everyday people like you and me, Stoicism is popping up everywhere. You've got CEOs quoting Marcus Aurelius in boardrooms, athletes using Stoic techniques to stay focused under pressure, and regular folks turning to Stoicism to deal with the stress of modern life. It's not hard to see why. We live in a world of constant noise. Social media pings, 24/7 news cycles, emails piling up faster than you can read them. Add in career pressures, financial uncertainty, and the occasional global crisis, and it's no wonder people are looking for ways to stay grounded. Stoicism offers a mental toolkit for navigating this chaos, and it's resonating with people who are tired of feeling overwhelmed. Why is Stoicism having such a moment right now? Let's break it down. First, there's the nature of our challenges. We're not dodging swords or plagues. Well, not usually, but we've got our own battles. Information overload is real. How many times have you checked your phone today? Probably more than you'd like to admit. Social media can make you feel like everyone else is living a perfect life while you're struggling. Work stress, financial worries, the pressure to keep up. These are the modern dragons we slay. Stoicism gives us tools to face these challenges head-on. It's not about escaping the world, it's about staying calm and focused within it. Whether you're dealing with a toxic boss, a flooded inbox, or the urge to compare yourself to that influencer on X, Stoicism helps you take back control. Another reason for Stoicism's resurgence is accessibility. Back in ancient times, you had to sit at Zeno's porch or get your hands on a handwritten scroll to learn this stuff. That wasn't exactly easy for the average person. Today, Stoicism is everywhere. You can pick up a copy of Meditations for a few bucks at any bookstore or download it for free online. Books like Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way have brought Stoicism to millions with practical advice wrapped in stories from history, business, and even sports. Online communities like the Daily Stoic newsletter or Stoic groups on platforms like X make it easy to connect with others who are into this philosophy. And let's not forget technology. There are Stoic journaling apps, meditation tools, even daily Stoic quote notifications. It's like having Epictetus in your pocket, ready to drop wisdom whenever you need it. Let's meet some of the key figures driving modern Stoicism. Ryan Holiday is probably the biggest name out there. He's a former marketing executive turned author who's made Stoicism accessible to a whole new generation. His books like Ego is the Enemy and Stillness is the Key take ancient ideas and apply them to modern challenges like building a career, handling criticism, or staying focused in a distracted world. Holiday's work is full of stories. Think Abraham Lincoln using Stoic resilience to navigate the Civil War, or Steve Jobs staying calm during Apple's early struggles. Then there's Massimo Pigliucci, a philosopher and scientist who's written books like How to Be a Stoic. Pigliucci is all about blending Stoicism with modern science, showing how it aligns with things like cognitive behavioral therapy. And don't forget Donald Robertson, a psychotherapist who's explored the connection between Stoicism and psychology in books like The Philosophy of Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. These folks aren't just repeating old ideas, they're adapting Stoicism for our time, making it relevant for the 21st century. Speaking of psychology, let's talk about how Stoicism and cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, are like philosophical cousins. CBT is a modern therapy that helps people change negative thought patterns, and it's got deep roots in Stoicism. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them." That's basically the core of CBT. Reframing how you think about a situation to change how you feel. For example, if you're stressed about a work deadline, CBT and Stoicism would say the stress isn't from the deadline itself, but from how you're thinking about it. Instead of "I'm doomed if I miss this," you can reframe it to "I'll do my best and that's enough." Modern Stoics have leaned into this connection, using Stoic exercises like journaling or reframing to manage anxiety, stress, or even depression. It's like Stoicism got a science-backed glow-up, and it's helping people navigate mental health challenges in a way the ancients couldn't have imagined. Technology has also made Stoicism more practical than ever. There are apps like Stoic or Aurelius that guide you through daily reflections or Stoic exercises. You can set reminders to pause and think about what's in your control or journal about your day through a Stoic lens. These apps are like a modern version of Marcus Aurelius's notebook, but with push notifications. And then there's the community aspect. Events like Stoicon, a global Stoicism conference, bring people together to discuss and practice Stoic principles. Online, you've got forums, subreddits, and X communities where people share quotes, stories, and tips. Just search Stoicism on X and you'll see thousands of people swapping ideas like how to stay calm during a work crisis or how to let go of social media envy. It's a global conversation and it's growing every day. Let me give you a real-world example to show how this works. Meet Sarah, a 30-something marketing manager I read about in a Stoic community online. Sarah was drowning in work stress, tight deadlines, demanding clients, meetings that never seemed to end. She felt like she was always one step away from burnout. Then she started reading Ryan Holiday's books and came across a Stoic practice called the view from above. It's where you imagine zooming out to see your problems from a cosmic perspective, like you're looking at Earth from space. Sarah tried it during a particularly rough week. She pictured her stressful meetings as tiny dots on a spinning planet, insignificant in the grand scheme of things. That shift in perspective helped her stay calm and focus on doing her best, rather than panicking about things she couldn't control. She also started journaling every night, writing down what she controlled that day and what she could improve. Over time, she felt more in charge of her life, even when her inbox was exploding. That's modern Stoicism in action, taking ancient wisdom and applying it to a 21st century problem. Here's another example. I saw a post on X from a college student who used negative visualization to prep for exams. They were stressed about failing, so they leaned into that fear the Stoic way. They imagined getting a bad grade, not to freak out, but to prepare. They thought, okay, if I fail, what's next? I'll study harder, retake the test, or talk to my professor. By facing the worst-case scenario, they felt less anxious and more in control. So they made flashcards, studied smarter, and ended up acing the exam. That's a straight-up Stoic move inspired by Seneca but applied to a modern student's life. It's about using your mind to take the sting out of fear. Let me share one more story, this time from a friend of mine, Jake, who's a small business owner. Jake was launching a new product, and he was terrified it would flop. He'd read The Obstacle is the Way and decided to try Stoic principles. He used negative visualization, picturing the product failing and customers hating it. Instead of panicking, he made a plan. Extra marketing, a backup product, a way to handle refunds. He also focused on what he could control: the product's quality, his customer service, his effort. When the launch went better than expected, he was thrilled, but he was also ready for any outcome. That's modern Stoicism, practical, actionable, and perfect for today's challenges. Modern Stoicism is all about taking these ancient ideas and making them work for our world. Whether it's using an app to journal, joining a Stoic meetup, or just reading a quote from Marcus Aurelius on your commute, it's about finding ways to live better right now. But how does this modern version compare to the original? How has Stoicism evolved from the days of togas and scrolls to the age of smartphones and Wi-Fi? That's what we're diving into next. We've covered the roots of ancient Stoicism and the rise of its modern revival, but now it's time to put them head to head. How does the Stoicism of Marcus Aurelius compare to the Stoicism of Ryan Holiday? What's stayed the same and what's changed? Let's break it down across a few key areas, and I'll throw in some examples to make it crystal clear. This is where we see how a 2,000-year-old philosophy still speaks to us, even in a world that's completely different. First up, let's talk about context. Ancient Stoicism was born in a world of physical survival. In Zeno's Athens or Seneca's Rome, life was brutal. Wars were constant. Political backstabbing was a daily reality, and things like plagues or famines could wipe out entire communities. Stoicism was a lifeline for dealing with tangible dangers: exile, loss, even death. For example, Seneca was exiled to the island of Corsica for years, accused of a crime he probably didn't commit. He used Stoicism to stay grounded, writing letters about finding peace no matter where you are. Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations during military campaigns, surrounded by death, disease, and chaos. His Stoicism was about enduring hardship with dignity, about staying steady when the world was falling apart. Now compare that to today. Our challenges are different. We're not dodging swords or barbarians, most of the time anyway. But we've got our own battles. Information overload is a big one. How many emails, texts, or notifications have you gotten today? Probably enough to make your head spin. Social media can make you feel like you're falling behind, like everyone else has it all figured out. Career burnout, financial stress, the pressure to have it all. These are the modern dragons we face. Modern Stoicism adapts to these challenges. For instance, Ryan Holiday talks about using Stoicism to handle criticism on social media. Instead of getting upset over a mean comment or a bad review, you remind yourself, I can't control what they say, but I can control how I respond. Maybe you mute the haters or take a break from your phone. It's the same Stoic principle Epictetus taught. Focus on what's in your control, but applied to a world where your phone pings 50 times a day. Here's a concrete example. Let's say you're a freelancer in ancient Rome. Working as a scribe, your client, a wealthy senator, decides not to pay you because he's in a bad mood. A Stoic like Seneca would say, you can't control his decision, but you can control your reaction. Stay calm, keep your integrity, and find another client. Fast forward to today. You're a freelancer again, but now it's 2025 and a client ghosts you on a payment. A modern Stoic inspired by Ryan Holiday might say, I can't control their actions, but I can control my follow-up emails, my professionalism, and whether I let this ruin my day. Same principle, different world. Ancient Stoics dealt with senators and storms. We deal with emails and algorithms. Next, let's look at accessibility. In ancient times, Stoicism was kind of exclusive. You had to be in the right place, like Zeno's porch in Athens, or have access to handwritten scrolls, which were rare and expensive. Seneca wrote his letters to a specific person, Lucilius, a friend and student. Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations for himself, not for public consumption. Stoicism was often for elites, philosophers, politicians, or people with the time and resources to study. If you were a farmer or a laborer, you probably weren't sitting in on Epictetus's lectures. Today, Stoicism is for everyone. You can buy meditations for a few bucks, download it for free online, or listen to it as an audiobook while you're driving. Ryan Holiday's books are bestsellers written in plain language that anyone can understand. Apps like Stoic or Aurelius make Stoic practices as easy as a few taps on your phone. And online communities, they're thriving. On X posts with Dermar Stoicism get thousands of likes, with people sharing quotes, stories, or tips for applying Stoicism. Modern Stoicism is democratic. Anyone with a smartphone or a library card can get in on it. Let me give you an example of this accessibility. Imagine you're a busy parent in 2025, juggling work, kids, and a million responsibilities. You don't have time to read ancient texts, but you download a Stoic app that sends you a daily quote from Marcus Aurelius. One morning you get this: if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. You pause, think about a tough conversation you need to have at work, and decide to approach it with honesty and courage. That's Stoicism fitting into a 5-minute coffee break. In ancient times, you'd need to track down a philosopher or a scroll to get that wisdom. Today, it's in your pocket. Another difference is emphasis. Ancient Stoics were obsessed with virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance, and living in harmony with the universe. They saw humans as part of a cosmic order guided by reason and fate. Marcus Aurelius wrote about amor fati, or loving your fate, which means accepting whatever happens, even the tough stuff, as part of the universe's plan. He'd say, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." That's big picture, almost spiritual stuff. Modern Stoicism, while still rooted in virtue, leans more practical. It's less about cosmic destiny and more about tools for everyday life. Ryan Holiday, for example, focuses on turning obstacles into opportunities. His books are packed with stories of people like John D. Rockefeller, who used Stoic resilience to rebuild after financial ruin, or Amelia Earhart, who stayed calm under pressure during her daring flights. Modern Stoics also emphasize mental health, using journaling, reframing, or mindfulness to manage anxiety, stress, or burnout, often borrowing from cognitive behavioral therapy. Here's an example to show the difference. In ancient Rome, Seneca wrote about handling anger in his essay On Anger. He advised taking a pause before reacting to an insult. If someone disrespected you in the Roman Senate, you'd step back, breathe, and choose a rational response instead of lashing out. Today, a modern Stoic might use the same principle for digital drama. Say you get a snarky email from a coworker or a rude comment on X. Instead of firing back, you pause, reflect, and decide not to let it ruin your day. You might even mute the conversation or walk away from your phone. It's the same Stoic idea: control your reaction, but applied to a world of keyboards and notifications. Let's talk about community. In ancient times, Stoicism was taught in small, intimate groups. Think Zeno's students gathered on the porch, or Epictetus lecturing to a handful of followers in a classroom. It was mentor-driven, personal, face-to-face. If you wanted to learn Stoicism, you had to seek out a teacher or a school. Today, Stoicism is a global conversation. Stoicon, the Modern Stoicism conference, brings hundreds of people together every year. Philosophers, students, professionals, you name it. Online, you've got forums, podcasts, and X-communities where people share how they're applying Stoicism. I saw a post the other day from someone who used Stoic principles to stay calm during a family argument. They quoted Epictetus, "You become what you give your attention to," and got dozens of replies with advice and support. That kind of community didn't exist in ancient Rome. You couldn't just tweet at Seneca for advice. Here's a story to illustrate this. I was scrolling through X last week and saw a thread from a teacher who was stressed about a difficult student. She was frustrated, feeling like she was failing. Someone replied with a Stoic exercise. Write down what you can control, your preparation, your patience, and what you can't, the student's behavior. The teacher tried it, realized she was doing her best, and let go of the guilt. She even started a group chat with other teachers to share Stoic tips. That's modern Stoicism. Community-driven, collaborative, and accessible in a way the ancients couldn't have dreamed of. Finally, let's compare the challenges Stoicism addresses. In ancient times, the focus was on physical and existential threats. Seneca wrote about facing death, losing wealth, or being exiled. Epictetus, as a former slave, taught about finding freedom in your mind, even if your body was chained. These were big life or death issues. Modern Stoicism tackles mental and emotional challenges. Take social media, for example. It's so easy to feel inadequate when you're scrolling through X or Instagram, seeing everyone's highlight reels. A modern Stoic might use the dichotomy of control to say, I can't control what others post, but I can control how much I scroll or how I feel about it. Maybe you set a timer for 10 minutes of social media a day, or unfollow accounts that make you feel bad, or think about work stress. Instead of worrying about a promotion you can't control, a modern Stoic focuses on doing their best and letting go of the outcome. Let me give you a side-by-side example. Imagine you're dealing with rejection. In ancient Rome, maybe you're a poet who read your work to a crowd and they booed you off the stage. Epictetus would say, "You can't control their reaction, but you can control your effort and your dignity." You'd keep writing knowing your worth isn't tied to their applause. Now in 2025, maybe you post a video on YouTube and it gets a ton of dislikes. A modern Stoic inspired by Ryan Holiday might say, "I can't control the algorithm or the haters, but I can control the quality of my content and how I respond." You might read the comments for constructive feedback, ignore the trolls, and keep creating. Same principle, different context. Ancient Stoics dealt with toga-wearing critics. We deal with keyboard warriors. Another example, negative visualization. In ancient times, Seneca might imagine losing his wealth to prepare for exile. He'd think, if I'm banished, I'll still have my mind, my values, my ability to live well. That mental rehearsal made him fearless. Today, a modern Stoic might visualize a project failing to prepare for a client meeting. Picture a graphic designer named Alex, who's pitching to a big client. Alex imagines the client hating the design not to stress out, but to plan ahead. Maybe they bring extra mock-ups or practice explaining their work. When the meeting goes well, Alex is relieved, but if it doesn't, they're ready. I tried this myself before a big presentation last year. I pictured the projector failing, my notes getting lost, everything going wrong. By the time I got to the meeting, I was prepared for anything, and when it went smoothly, I was almost surprised. That's Stoicism bridging 2,000 years from Roman villas to Zoom calls. One thing that stayed the same through all this, the core idea that happiness comes from within. Whether it's Marcus Aurelius in a war-torn empire or a modern Stoic in a cubicle, the goal is the same. Focus on your character, control what you can, and let go of the rest. Ancient Stoics didn't have to deal with doom scrolling or Zoom fatigue, but their principles still work for those modern struggles. It's like a 2,000-year-old recipe that still tastes good. You just tweak the ingredients to fit today's kitchen. So, what does this mean for you? Whether you're drawn to the ancient wisdom of Epictetus or the practical tips of Ryan Holiday, Stoicism is about action. It's not enough to read about it or watch this video. You've got to live it. You've got to take these ideas and put them to work in your life. So let's move into our final section where I'll share 5 practical ways to apply Stoicism today, starting right now. These are tools you can use whether you're facing a tough day at work, a personal challenge, or just trying to find a little more calm in the chaos. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. Ancient Stoicism, Modern Stoicism, and how they compare. But here's where it gets real. How do you actually use Stoicism in your life? Whether you're inspired by Marcus Aurelius scribbling in his tent or Ryan Holiday's practical advice, Stoicism is all about taking action. It's not just a philosophy to read about or think about. It's a way to live better starting today. So let's dive into 5 practical ways to apply Stoicism to your life, with examples and tips you can try this week. I'll even share a personal story to show how this stuff works in real life. Because Stoicism isn't just theory. It's a game changer when you put it into practice. Number 1. Practice the dichotomy of control. This is the heart of Stoicism, straight from Epictetus, and it's so simple yet so powerful. Some things are up to you. Your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. Other things, not so much. Traffic, the weather, what your boss thinks of you, what someone says about you online. The trick is to focus on what's in your control and let go of the rest. Let's say you're stuck in traffic on your way to an important meeting. You can't control the cars, but you can control whether you get mad or stay calm. Maybe you take a deep breath, pop on a podcast, or practice gratitude for having a car at all. This is something I do all the time when I'm running late. Instead of stressing, I remind myself, I can't control the clock, but I can control how I show up. I might practice my pitch in my head or just enjoy the moment of quiet. Try this. Next time you're stressed, make a quick list. On one side, write what's in your control, your effort, your words, your mindset. On the other, write what's not, the outcome, other people's reactions. Focus on the first list and watch your stress start to melt away. It's like decluttering your mind. Number 2, journal like a Stoic. Marcus Aurelius didn't have a fancy app or a leather-bound notebook, but he journaled every day, reflecting on his actions and mindset. Modern Stoics have taken this practice and made it a cornerstone of the philosophy. Journaling helps you process your day, spot patterns, and stay aligned with your values. Here's how to do it. At the end of the day, take 5 minutes to write down one thing you did well and one thing you could improve. Maybe you stayed calm during a tough conversation with a friend. Awesome, write that down. Maybe you snapped at a coworker because you were stressed. Note it and think about how to handle it better next time. You can use a notebook, a Stoic app, or even the Notes app on your phone. I started doing this a few months ago, and it's been a game changer. One night I wrote about how I got frustrated with a delayed project at work. By reflecting, I realized I was upset because I was tying my self-worth to the outcome, which is something I can't fully control. The next day I focused on doing my best and let go of the result. It felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Journaling doesn't have to be long or fancy. Just a few sentences can help you see your day through a Stoic lens. Number 3, try negative visualization. This one sounds intense, but it's super practical, and it's straight out of Seneca's playbook. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum. Preparing for the worst so you're ready for anything. Before a big event like a job interview, a date, or a family gathering, take a minute to imagine things going wrong. Not to stress yourself out, but to prepare mentally. For example, before a big meeting, I picture the client hating my ideas or my laptop crashing. Then I plan. I'll stay calm, listen to their feedback, and have a backup plan like printed notes or an extra flash drive. When the meeting goes fine, as it usually does, I'm relieved, and if it doesn't, I'm ready. Seneca used this to prepare for exile. You can use it for a bad day at work or a tough conversation. Just don't overdo it. Spend a minute or two imagining the worst, then move on. It's like mental insurance. It takes the fear out of uncertainty. Number 4, reframe challenges. This is a big one in modern Stoicism, and it's straight out of Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way. Instead of seeing problems as roadblocks, see them as opportunities to grow, to learn, to get stronger. Let's say you're overwhelmed by a big project at work or school. Instead of thinking, "This is too much, I can't handle it," try, "This is a chance to improve my skills, to show what I'm capable of." I used this when I had to learn a new software for work. At first I was frustrated. It felt impossible, like I'd never get it. Then I reframed it. This is a chance to level up, to add something new to my toolbox. I broke it down into small steps, watched tutorials, and by the end I was proud of what I'd learned. Next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, "And how can this make me stronger? What can I learn from this?" It's like mental alchemy, turning lead into gold, turning obstacles into opportunities. Number 5, build a Stoic routine. Stoicism isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a daily practice, like brushing your teeth or working out. Start your day with a Stoic quote. There are tons on X, in books like The Daily Stoic, or even on apps. For example, you might read Epictetus saying, "You become what you give your attention to," and decide to focus on positive, productive things that day, or end your day with a quick reflection. What went well? What can I do better? You can also set reminders on your phone to pause and check in with yourself. Are you focusing on what you can control? Are you acting with virtue, wisdom, courage, justice? I have a sticky note on my desk that says, "What's in your control?" It's a simple reminder to stay stoic, especially when I'm tempted to stress about things I can't change. You can also follow Stoic accounts on X for daily inspiration. There's always someone sharing a gem from Seneca or Marcus Aurelius. Building a routine makes Stoicism a habit, not just a cool idea. Here's a personal story to tie it all together. Last year, I was working on a big project with a tight deadline. Everything was going wrong. Clients were unhappy, my team was stressed, and I was losing sleep over it. I felt like I was failing. Then I stumbled across a Stoic quote from Marcus Aurelius. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." I decided to give Stoicism a try. I made a list of what I could control: my effort, my communication, my attitude. I let go of worrying about the client's reaction or the project's outcome because those weren't fully up to me. I started journaling each night, reflecting on what I did well and where I could improve. And I used negative visualization, imagining the project failing so I could plan backup options like alternative strategies or extra resources. By the end, the project wasn't perfect, but it went better than I expected, and more importantly, I felt calm through it all. I wasn't freaking out anymore. That's when I knew Stoicism wasn't just philosophy, it was a lifeline, a way to navigate life's chaos with clarity and confidence. Let me give you one more example because I want you to see how versatile Stoicism is. A friend of mine, Maria, is a single mom who was struggling with work-life balance. She felt guilty for not being present enough for her kids and stressed about keeping up at her job. She started reading The Daily Stoic and tried the dichotomy of control. She realized she couldn't control her work hours or her kids' tantrums, but she could control her effort and her mindset. She started setting aside 15 minutes each night to journal, writing down one moment she was proud of, like reading to her kids, and one thing to improve, like not checking emails during dinner. She also used negative visualization to prepare for tough days, imagining a kid getting sick or a work deadline going wrong. By planning ahead, she felt less overwhelmed. Over time, she said Stoicism helped her feel more in control, even when life was messy. That's the power of Stoicism. It works whether you're an emperor or a parent in 165 CE or 2025. Your challenge? Pick one of these practices and try it this week. Maybe journal for 5 minutes tonight, writing down what you controlled today. Maybe reframe a challenge tomorrow, turning a problem into an opportunity. Or maybe just pause the next time you're stressed and ask, what's in my control? Whatever you choose, take one small step toward living like a Stoic. You don't have to be perfect, just start. Drop a comment below and let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear your story, whether it's a big win or a small moment of clarity. Wow, what a journey we've been on. We've traveled from the porches of ancient Athens to the smartphones of today, exploring how Stoicism has guided people through tough times for over 2,000 years. Ancient Stoicism, with its focus on virtue, resilience, and living in harmony with nature, gave us a foundation. Thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus showed us how to stay steady in a world of chaos, whether it was wars, exile, or personal loss. Modern Stoicism has taken those ideas and made them practical for our lives with tools like journaling, apps, and communities that bring Stoic wisdom to everyone, everywhere. Whether it's facing a Roman battlefield or a flooded inbox, Stoicism reminds us that we can't control the world, but we can control how we respond. The beauty of Stoicism is that it's not about being cold or unfeeling. It's not about shutting down your emotions or pretending everything's fine. It's about living wisely, courageously, and authentically. It's about focusing on what matters. Your character, your actions, your choices, and letting go of the noise, whether it's a senator's insult or a notification on your phone. Whether you're Team Ancient Stoicism with its cosmic perspective or Team Modern with its practical tools, the goal is the same: to live a good life no matter what comes your way. So here's my call to action for you. Try one Stoic practice this week. Maybe it's journaling for a few minutes, reframing a challenge, or just pausing to ask, what's in my control? Take one small step toward applying Stoicism and see how it feels. Share your experience in the comments. I can't wait to hear how it goes. What worked for you? What was tough? Are you drawn to the ancient philosophers like Seneca? Or do you vibe more with the modern takes from Ryan Holiday? Let me know. Are you Team Ancient Stoicism, Team Modern, or a mix of both? What Stoic idea resonates with you most? As we wrap up, let's leave with a quote from Marcus Aurelius that sums it all up. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That's Stoicism in a nutshell, whether it's a 165 CE or 2025. It's about finding peace within yourself no matter what's happening outside. It's about choosing courage, wisdom, and kindness even when life is messy. Thanks for joining me on this journey, everyone. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give it a thumbs up. Share it with a friend who needs some Stoic wisdom. And hit that subscribe button for more videos like this. Stay Stoic, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.